Welcome to CryptocurrenSHE, a podcast by smart women smushing everything crypto and blockchain into busy mom lives, ensuring the where, how, and what we're learning so you don't have to spend your precious minutes asking the questions. Anything discussed in the podcast is not financial advice, and as with everything parenting, do your own research.
Hey everybody, I'm Jen. This is Hannah. We are CryptocurrenSHE, and this is our very first podcast. So you're going to get to learn a little bit about us. I'm Jen Grayson and have been an international speaker, been involved in the crypto scene since about 2017. We'll get into who we are a little more in depth, but I'll let Hannah introduce herself a little bit.
My name is Hannah. I got into crypto actually just at the beginning of this year, so I'm fairly new to cryptocurrency. I kind of had heard a little bit about Bitcoin early on in like 2012, and I totally missed the boat. So I saw on the news about Bitcoin at the beginning of 2021, and I was like, I'm not gonna miss this again. So I basically just kind of wanted to dive right in and teach myself about this stuff and educate myself to create some sort of additional wealth for my family.
Perfect. I love it. And I came at it from the other end of the spectrum, ended up in Barcelona, Spain, at a crypto conference and drank out of the fire hose, and really had known about crypto for about 5 weeks. I mean, went from like 0 to 1,000 overnight and have never looked back, and have been speaking around the world, have been a massive advocate for the empowerment of women in the space. This is something really, really important to me. I've had 2 blockchain companies, and when our producer approached a group of crypto traders in a Facebook group about who wanted to do a podcast, I was like, yes, pick me. I would love to, but don't make me do any of the hard stuff. If I can just show up and talk, I love to do that. And so that's how we ended up together. Well, that's how I ended up in this part. Hannah probably had like a bunch of like research that she did about why she wanted to be involved in this.
I was volunteered. Someone tagged me in the group. So of course on Facebook, first off, one thing that you, the listeners, will realize about Jen and I is that there's a lot of ways that we're the same, but there's a lot of ways that we are very, very different. And one of those ways is just literally, like Jen said, just drinking from the fire hose, and then me like making exacting calculations and deciding, you know, what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it, and just really executing a plan. So we're coming at this from 2 completely different angles. But yes, the Facebook group, I saw the post and I was like, okay, sketchy people on the internet being sketchy. So I am just not certain about this. It sounds interesting, but I'm going to scroll on past it, because how often do people just post in random Facebook groups and you like get something successful or interesting out of it, right? There was a crypto that I purchased over the summer, and I was really involved with the development team because I had lots of questions. And they are a couple of the developers are in that group, and they are women because it's a women women in crypto Facebook group, and she actually tagged me. She was like, Hannah. I was like, thanks. I guess I'll message her. So then, of course, I messaged Suzanne, who was like, hey, tell me about this. She sent me a voice message on Facebook, and I was like, all right, we're really getting serious here. I need to like make sure that I'm prepared and send her back a voice message, because I'm really just a hot mess. People just think I have my shit together, and I just really don't. So anyways, That is how I found you. Someone tagged me in a random Facebook group on Facebook, and here I am in all
I'm
my
so
glory.
excited to have gotten to hear that story because I haven't heard that part of the story. So
Yep,
that's really great.
that is the story. That is how it went, and hopefully big things to come. I mean, who knows? It's so far we've been connected for a couple months now, so I mean it's been interesting and fun up to this point. So I'm just hoping that there's something that I have as a newbie in the crypto world, and as just a regular mom person trying to make a life for my kids and make sure that the Walmart pickup gets picked up before they put all the groceries back on the shelf. Like, that I have information about this that can help guide other women down this path. And hopefully in like 20 or 30 years, we can all like go to Bali or something and like hang out. That's
Yeah,
that's the game plan.
please. Okay, one, I do delivery from Walmart, not pickup. Two, we got to go to Bali in way less than 20 years. Like
We'll see. We'll see how
way less. Like
I'm
I'm just
up.
like
I'm
two.
optimistic, Jen,
Okay,
but
right.
I don't want to be again our
Yes, I
our
think that
mindsets.
right there again. Hannah's like, okay, just if we could do this by 20 years. And I'm like, seriously, like, why can't we do that by the end of the year? Like that is us. If there is anything you need to know about us, that is pretty accurate right
Yep,
there.
I'm taking notes for the 20-year plan, and Jen has already booked the flight. So
yes, exactly, 100%.
Sounds
okay. So why take time out of our busy chaos grocery shopping lives to do this thing? For me, I have always truly believed that women are going to be the answer to adoption. And every time I spoke anywhere, it didn't matter where I was or what podcast I've been on. My involvement in crypto, there have been some women, but it is a pretty male dominated space even now. We're recording this at the beginning of 2022, and there are more women than what I saw in 2017, but there's still, like with any tech industry, any slice of the tech industry, there aren't enough women. And I know I was drinking out of the fire hose, and Hannah, you've talked about this a little bit, and I'll let you talk about it a little bit more, but we really wanted this to be a place where we could be the women that we wish we'd have had when we were starting. And I just think we need to change the language that we're using so it applies more to women. We're using words that we've just been given, and we haven't shifted them to the way women speak, the way women interact. We do things differently. I mean, we have to, because for us predominantly, and we're going to throw around the word women, but also the feminine. Like, this really is a shift into the feminine versus the masculine. The feminine does things differently. It's more collaborative. It's more creative. It's more community driven. And so we wanted to do something that was really cohesive and collaborative and feminine focused. I mean, Hannah, you have a lot on your plate. Like, why take on a podcast? Why go all the way into this from being tagged on Facebook into a fairly decent time commitment into doing this? We've spent a lot of time so far getting prepared and taking this on. Why does this matter to you so much?
I think that cryptocurrency and blockchain, which are terms that we'll throw around a lot, they're not complicated. It's just something that needs to be explained to a person that's never heard them before. Um, but I think that they are technologies that are going to be absolutely huge in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years for sure. You're going to start seeing these things everywhere. I honestly believe personally that um, this is very similar to when the internet was born. It was considered by a lot of people, a lot of professionals, as a passing fad. That it was interesting, but it was difficult to use, and it was complicated, and it was confusing, and why do we even need it? But then you had these pioneers that came along, and you have these big companies that ended up being huge. Obviously, you have like your, IBM or Microsoft, or all these companies that came on and around the internet, AOL. I was just kind of coming of age as the internet was being born, and we got a desktop computer in our house for the first time when I was in high school, and it was like the coolest thing ever, and I wasn't allowed to do anything on it, but whatever. I'm not bitter about that at all. But I played a lot of Sims, so it was worth it, I guess, in the end. But you know, I really honestly think blockchain is like the next internet, in terms of like the next big thing. It has the capability of just being absolutely huge and world changing, the way that the internet changed the world, when people thought it was a fad and it was complicated and it was like whatever. Those early adopters, those people who had it figured out, like, this is going to be huge, that's where we are right now. So like seeing that happening, I'm like, where's my seat? Like, I want to sit down, like I'm like strapped in, I'm ready to go, like I've placed my bets. I'm still placing bets when I find something cool. So I'm just super passionate about it because I feel like I see something that's being that's so obvious once you get that information and you like are able to break it down. But it's being overlooked by like everyone, and you're just sitting there, you're like, how do you not see this all these amazing opportunities to get in on this, that could change my family's life? I mean, in the long term, I mean, what I'm shooting for here is like generational wealth. Like, obviously, as a parent, as a mother, my main concern is I don't want my kids to want for anything. I want them to have some, respect for needing to get what they need to get. But I want to make sure that their futures are secured in a way where they are not going to have to be stressed out, like the way I am sometimes, about just being able to get the amount of groceries that you need, or making that mortgage payment on time, or whatever it might be. Granted, a lot of those situations I got into myself, but the story here is that I want to make sure that my kids have opportunities that I didn't necessarily have. So seeing this happen, it's just made me super passionate about wanting to get in on this opportunity, and knowing other mothers like me who are very intelligent, who are very aware and able to understand these things, but they don't feel like they can. Like, I think women, this is gonna, this could go off in a whole nother direction. Obviously, we're not gonna go on off that tangent, but women in general, we just don't get the support in like the STEM world like men do. So when it comes to women in like blockchain and crypto, I feel like we're at a severe disadvantage because there's a lot of factors working against us. And I wanted someone normal like me. Well, maybe I'm not normal, but average. And I wanted someone like me to be able to help me into this world. And unfortunately, there was no one like that. So I want this podcast to be that voice for a woman or a mother who is trying to figure out something better for herself and her family. I mean, I guess that's pretty much what it comes down to. I just want to be that person to like be like, here, there you go, come along for the ride with us. Let's see what happens.
I think this is a perfect time to point out that this is not financial advice. Anything we say on this podcast is two women rambling about things we love, and things that we find. I think those are all really good points, which also we don't really know where this is going. I mean, Hannah and I have both done our own research on things, and we have certain projects that we're supporting that we love, that we don't know where they're going. We don't know where this podcast is going. Basically, it's just going to be the two of us talking about things that are interesting to us, what goes into the things we research, why we research them. We really don't know where this is headed. We hope you'll all come along for the ride with us, and you're gonna get to learn lots and lots about us and how different we are and how similar we are. And we're gonna talk through a lot of the things that we see coming up, a lot of the misinformation that's out there. I think that's the big piece for me, is I see so many people that are really smart people, really smart women, friends of mine from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different industries, that are parroting information that isn't correct. And we want to educate on those points. And as things come up that we don't know, that we want to learn, we want to learn it together and kind of take everybody along for the ride with us, and talk about all of those pieces. So we're just going to kind of dive in and talk about crypto on a regular basis, and what we're learning, what we're finding, what we want to know more of. And so that's kind of us and what we're looking at, and we hope you'll stick around. That wraps up our conversation for today. If you have any suggestions or questions regarding this episode or any others, please let us know on social media. Thanks for finding the time to visit with us, and we hope to chat with you again soon here at CryptocurrenSHE.